everyone. What a wonderful summer night out there. We want to thank you for joining us this evening. And the goal of this live cast is to introduce you to entrepreneurs that make a difference in your community. We want this to be fun, informative discussion on a variety of topics to stimulate your mind. Some thoughts to ponder are, what would you do if you were debt-free, optimum health, and have the job you love going to every single day? We want you to walk away from these episodes with feeling of, I can implement these and make small changes to make a huge difference in my life. And I can use such and such a service and live their dreams. As for our guest this evening, I want to warmly welcome Pushpa Bansal for joining us. And she is a happiness and health coach and employs EFT, NLP, and Meta Health to create and guide her clients through practical, easy to learn, and empowering routines so they can live a pain-free, stress-free, and let go of any traumas and limiting beliefs. She is also devoted to working with others to learn the tools and protocols for empowerment and creating the reality they desire. And all those acronyms, I am sure she is going to explain that to us. And just to add another tool to her tool belt, she is also an expert in aromatherapy and reflexology. So welcome, Pushpa.
Welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Darlene, for giving me this chance. And I'm really honored to be in your company. Thanks.
You're welcome. So tell us everything that you do. Are you still with us?
We have a frozen screen. After that huge introduction.
I think it was my delay, my computer delay.
So many questions.
I'm sorry, Pushpa. Go right ahead.
Well, it's a good time for me to talk about the acronyms. I think most of the people for the past 10 years have really happily heard about EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And Emotional Freedom Technique is really a combination of Chinese acupuncture and reversing the trauma or any other issue that somebody has by using modern psychology, modern psychological language, and reversing that effect on a person. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro-Linguistic Programming as itself is making it clear to you is about the neurons in your brain. It's about the language of your subconscious or unconscious and how to tame and train your unconscious mind. As everybody knows, that unconscious is the 95% of our total brain, and this is the boss, really, not the conscious mind, which is only up to about 5%. Just as you look at the iceberg, an iceberg inside the water is 95% submerged, and we can't see it. Only the top 5% we see. Similarly, our mind is 95% submerged and we can't see, but we are on autopilot. Like once we have learned to drive the car, we know what to do. And who does that? Not your conscious mind, your unconscious mind. So to program and train your mind is all about neuro-linguistic programming. It can be therapeutic. It can be used for business. It can be used for sales. Politicians like Obama in his welcome speech used NLP language throughout in his throughout in his address. So neuro-linguistic programming is a tool that helps us to look at our problem and find the solution within. Meta Health, on the other hand, is an analytical tool. As the name suggests, meta means big, looking from above, looking at a person's health spiritually, emotionally.
I think we had just a little bit of a hiccup with our internet. We'll give it 1 second to see if it catches up for us. How interesting. I love the visual with seeing the iceberg. And it's so true. We just use that small little part of our mind. Are you back with us? Sorry, Pushpa. We had a little bit of an internet hiccup.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes,
Absolutely.
please.
So I was talking about the meta health, and I was saying that this is a tool that is so good because we look at the 4 layers of our brain: our reptilian brain, brainstem, our cerebellum, which is next to it, and it is taking control of our organs like skin or the feelings, etc. Then the midbrain, the limbic brain, where all of the emotional thinking goes on, and then the neocortex and the frontal lobe, where we have developed, as the anthropology tells us, is we are coming into becoming more and more social people, and how sociology, economy, etc. affects us, our mood and everything. So this tool helps me to analyze somebody's health and then give them the understanding how they created their own reality. Once they know they are in control, they created it, they are happy to work to reverse it. So that's all about meta health.
Wow. It's almost intimidating just hearing about it. But yet it's exciting to know that you can help people. Now, with the NLP, how long of a period of time are you looking at for any changes or changes for people that they would see?
If somebody comes to me and they say, well, I go to Timmy's 20 times a day, double with caramel shot, can you help me? Yes, I can. 1 session. If somebody comes to me and say, I have allergies and I really want to get rid of it, can you help me? Yes, I can. It might take a couple of sessions. But if somebody wants to come for a breakthrough session where they're saying, I really have fear, I have sadness, I have hurt, I have guilt in my life, then it takes me up to about 2 days, but it's very intensive. We work for about 6 to 8 hours. I generally do it at weekends because people are free. So 6 to 8 hours, day one, say on Saturday, and then another 5 to 6 hours on Sunday. And 2 weeks later, if there is something else they want to talk about and they think, well, they need a little bit more help, then I do another 2 hours. So that's how little and long it takes. However, I also do the coaching. So if somebody has a problem, and they want to work with me in coaching for their health issues or manifesting something in their life or working on their relationship, that all comes into it. It could be 6 months, it could be for a year, the coaching program.
So when you've coached someone, let's say with the NLP, like you had said with the Timmys, now how long is that lasting for? Is that a forever thing or does it come back? How long lasting is it?
You've heard of hypnosis. I actually did not introduce myself as also a hypnotherapist.
Oh my gosh, yep, more tools in that tool belt.
So, when we talk about the hypnosis, our mind is always in our control. If someone doesn't want to be hypnotized, they will never be. So when we are talking about somebody goes to Timmy's and they want double, and I have just happened to see somebody we had this seminar for 4 days last month in June, and this lady had the session as a demo last year. This year she still came, and she is a MAPS coach herself, and she hasn't touched the coffee yet. So what I'm saying is, if your mind is saying, no, I do want to drink the coffee, no, I don't believe in this, no, I want to smoke again, no, I want to eat my bread and butter, yes, they will break it.
Yeah.
But those of us who are saying, I've done this work, it is good for my health, I can understand it, I can anchor it, because I work a lot with anchoring the good feelings with somebody, and I want to go on this path, then it is forever.
So basically you're saying that you work with people that have already made a decision in their own mind. Here's my problem. I need help with it. And then they need to get in connection with you. Is that what you mean by our mind wanting to take that step further?
In a very basic way, yes. But sometimes a person doesn't even know what the problem is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they think it is a problem, but it is a symptom. And it's us therapists who have to go into it and show them that this is not really the problem. It is a symptom, the byproduct of it. The real problem is something else, that your relationship is not working and you are drinking more and more coffee, say, or smoking just to stay in control, or just to prove yourself that you can manage it.
Mm-hmm. Because you mentioned a few symptoms. You mentioned the allergies, the habit of coffee, these kind of things. So how do people kind of make that connection between this list of symptoms that we can go to any health practitioner for a BandAid versus coming to someone like you who can really get to the heart, the core, the root problem?
Good question. Thank you, Stephanie. And this is where my exposure is. But if somebody reads somebody's biography and know that they are in NLP, they would, and they have some knowledge of it, they would know it, that we are working much deeper, on a deeper level. However, a Band-Aid is what the doctors give. You have high blood pressure, take this medicine. You have diabetes, take metformin, and this is there forever. Whereas when you are working with somebody like me, we analyze the life situation. Why did it come? Why did it manifested? And take the person into the control mode. But your question is, how does somebody find me? Is that correct?
Yeah, because I think people just don't know how they can really get to the root. I think our first, in general, in our society is, okay, I don't feel well, I feel sick, I have a headache, I have allergies, I'm uncomfortable. And it's like, how can I get myself out of the pain as soon as possible? So it's like, I either go to my pharmacy down the street and I walk through the shelf and I get something off the counter, or maybe my walk-in clinic or my doctor. I mean, I think we don't know that these kind of get to the root problem solutions exist.
And thank you so much.
How do we make that connection?
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing it up. And I write a lot of blogs. Most of the time they are on my website, and I then take them to the link to the Facebook, my page, etc. Sometimes people come through referrals. Sometimes people come through, by reading it on the website. But you are really right. You are saying, how do people know? It's It's really a biggie. You know why? Because when I started it, like emotional freedom technique, I know I've come from UK, and I know that it has been in National Health Service, NHS, it has been approved, and people can have up to about, say, 6 sessions if their doctor recommends it.
Wow.
Our health system over there is slightly different. But when I came here, I found that emotional freedom technique is not even heard of 10 years ago. And the Canadian health is still coming to this place where, yes, they approve a psychotherapy session, but they don't approve this session. So most of the time, the psychotherapists have already done the emotional freedom technique, or they have taken some training in NLP. So I would say people will come more if it is on insurance, for sure.
Mhm.
You're very right. And that's, I think, is right now a chance for people to hear and know uh, that their health is in their own hands, or their
Yes.
well-being, their manifesting their future, changing their reality is in their own hands, not in doctors' hands. But I
Yeah.
also want to say one more thing is that please don't wait. If you have a heart attack, you've got to go to
Oh, for sure.
hospital. If there's something life-threatening, or you've been, in a in something traumatic, you've got to go to the hospital. But when it comes to the mental well-being, emotional well-being, then the this is, in my opinion, is a better help.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's so true, Pushpa. I mean, our health is in our own hands, and I think we spend so much. I think it's just our conditioning, our society. It's just we grow up with this notion that the authorities, the medical world, is our health is in their hands, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a shift, and I mean, I think this is the conversation, this is the dialogue, this is the type of conversations that we need to have in Canada, in the industry, in the health and wellness industry.
And you can start seeing the shift as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I know with NLP, it was how I know of it, it was from Tony Robbins.
Right.
And he really promoted it, and I'm a major fan of his and following him, et cetera, et cetera. But that's how I learned about it. But I was a seeker, so I'm a seeker, and I want to learn this stuff, and I want to be able to implement it. However, now I'm seeing more people shift and are open, like even aromatherapy. Go back 10 years, and people are saying, "What are you doing?" And it's like, well, it's aromatherapy I'm putting on my temples so I don't have a headache. But people 10, 15 years ago thought I was crazy. But now it's fully accepted. So unfortunately, it's just taking a long time in Canada or in North America to accept these natural, holistic ways of therapy.
Yes, and it's so correct. In aromatherapy, the essential oils we use, we know that they're plant-based, and we also know that 90% of the medication is plant-based. Then they put chemicals in it and other minerals and things, and then it creates side effects. Whereas with the oils, you don't have any side effect.
Mm-hmm. So let me just ask you a couple other questions before we wrap up for the evening. How do you give back to your community, Pushpa?
Well, good question. I generally help my clients on a sliding scale if I know that they cannot afford it, or I know that they really, really need my help. So I make it so easy for them that they can have it. I think it's my way of saying thank you to the universe that, yes, this is how I can help. I have approached a few hospice, etc., but they're not open to emotional freedom technique. They're not open to, say, aromatherapy because they say we are scent free here and we can't use it. But nevertheless, I have tried to give help to the caregivers in the nursing home. And when I was a teacher, actually, my career is as a teacher. I came here to Canada. I really did 1 whole year of free volunteering work in a junior school. And I thought that was really good to get to know people here. If someone comes to me and they are really in need, I will help them. If there is any association or anything that I can approach to and I can give help to people, I'm more than happy and willing to do it.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. And another question, I guess, is finances. If you had unlimited resources, what would you do most? What would you want to do most with it?
Wow.
Big question.
Question of the night.
Exercise actually in manifesting, where we double up the money every time somebody, we play it as a game and say, now what will you do with $500,000? What will you do with $1 million? What will you do with,
But I just gave you unlimited resources.
You must spend all the money. So I know that most of the time, including me, once our basic needs and luxuries are met, we don't have any more need for the money. If you see the, celebrities or the singers and people who have tons and tons of money, they're really not happy. They get into drugs or something wrong because they don't know what to do with themselves, right? If I have a lot of money and money is not the object, then I have a few people that I idolize. You may not like it, but I do idolize Bill Gates for that reason, for his philanthropist nature. But what I will do is, if money is not the object, I will go for children in areas where they need more education. And that will be something that I would do, especially there is so much wars going on like Haiti or Rwanda or other places where these children are traumatized. I would be, with my power of money, energy, would be able to help these traumatized children, even through EFT and TFT. If you have heard of that, the person who started the EFT, he learned it from Roger Callahan, Dr. Roger Callahan, who was a psychotherapist, and he has passed on, unfortunately, now. But his wife still goes to Rwanda and helps these war-torn children. I think that is very near to my heart, and that's what I will do.
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
Thank you. You kind of hit I think, both of our hearts with that as well. Definitely. Do you have any
education and
your children deserve a lot more than what they get.
Absolutely. Do you have any last questions, Stephanie?
No, I know we're getting close to the time, so
we are. Well, as a recap, we covered off some informative, well-rounded questions, and now have a much better understanding of all the acronyms we introduced earlier in this talk. And with Pushpa, that loves to help people and through all her areas of expertise. And I would love for you to peruse her website. We're going to have all her contact information below the recording once we post it. And she also wants to offer out any free session introductory session to anyone that needs any help. It doesn't have to be anything specifically. Just reach out, ask her questions, and it doesn't have to be pain related, stress related, anxiety related. Just reach out to her and she will help you. I know she's got this calm effect, this positive viewpoint. So I know by reaching out to her will be a definitely benefit to you in whichever area that you choose. So Pushpa, I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. I just want to add, Darlene, that I would like to give the session in emotional freedom technique so that people take something as a tool with them as well. Not just that they do a session with me and then they don't know what to do, but something that they can use it in the time of their need. Whatever it is, any kind of issue or something that is bothering you, just connect. And thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome, Pushpa. And
Definitely.
Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And our next live cast is this Thursday at 8:30 a.m. I'm pretty sure it's at 8:30.
9 a.m., I think. Is it 9 a.m.?
Oh, actually, it
Or not?
is 9 a.m.? Okay, there we go. I had it at, yeah, 9 to 9:30.
Okay.
That's okay. I'll get it. One of these live casts, I will get it right. So we'll see you on Thursday, and everyone have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Pushpa, Darlene. Have a good evening.
Thank
Bye-bye
you,
now.
Darlene, for this
Bye.
wonderful opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah, get in touch with Pushpa.
Yes, definitely.
Yep, definitely.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.